Hi, I'm Daniel.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Ben.
And we're Silverchair.
And you're watching your television.
With Rage on it.
Silverchair's debut album Frogstomp, released on Murmur Records, was recorded in December of 1994 and January of 95 at Festival Studios in New South Wales, Australia. Kevin Shirley, who has worked with such bands as Journey, Iron Maiden, Rush, and Led Zeppelin, produced the album. Frogstomp was recorded in 9 days. When asked if the record was made live in the studio, singer and guitarist Daniel John said, "Yeah, that's the thing that I do really like about that album. It sounds exactly like we sounded. There was no big American producer calling the shots behind the desk and telling us to do this, this, and this. It was literally this guy, Kevin Shirley, who was a great producer, just saying, I want it to sound like you guys, but I want it to sound really fucking loud, and I want the guitars really fucking loud. The songwriting might not be genius, but I think sonically the performances are really good."
So it's a big change in your life, huh? Like, you went from being a garage band in Newcastle to suddenly with your first single selling more than In Excess and Midnight Oil, and like one of the top 5 ever Australian songs. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Was it a big, okay, how have you been able to stay grounded through this whole thing?
Staying at school. Stops you from getting a big head, because if you get a big head at school you get ripped off a lot.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, you just gotta stay as normal as possible.
The album was released in March of 1995 and reached number 1 on the Australian Albums Chart. In June of 95, Frogstomp was released by Epic Records in the United States and peaked at number 9 on the Billboard 200. The album has since gone on to sell over 2.5 million copies worldwide. 4 singles were released from Frogstomp: Tomorrow, Pure Massacre, Israel's Son, and Shade. The leading single from the album, Tomorrow, became a breakthrough hit for Silverchair when it reached number 1 on the Australian Singles Chart in October of 94, and it remained in the top position for 6 weeks. A re-recorded version of the song was issued in 95 in the United States and also peaked at number 1. At the 1995 ARIA Music Awards, Tomorrow won 3 awards in the categories Single of the Year, Highest Selling Single, and Breakthrough Artist Single. The band would go on to win 2 further awards for Frogstomp that night as well. In September, at the 1995 MTV Video Music Awards, Silverchair would play their song Tomorrow in epic fashion on the roof of Radio City Music Hall in New York City. When asked about where the inspiration for Tomorrow came from, John said, "That was on a TV show. There was this poor guy taking a rich guy through a hotel to experience the losses of the less fortunate than him. The rich guy is just complaining because he just wants to get out, and the poor guy is saying, you have to wait till tomorrow to get out. That's one of our least serious songs, but it still has meaning to it."
All the big magazines and teen magazines and stuff, we turned down all interviews from them just to avoid overexposure and stuff like that. And we just did interviews for Street Press and fanzines and stuff like that. And after a while of doing that, we decided to do some magazines like Rolling Stone and stuff, but we didn't go anywhere near the teen magazines just to keep like underground and not like be exposed to all the teen things or whatever.
When asked why the album's name is Frogstomp, John said, "I was at a guy from our record company's house one night and I was looking through his CDs because he's got a really good collection. I found this 60s pop collection record and I was just going, why do you have this? I looked at the back and there was this song that some guy did called Frogstomp, and I said, that's a pretty good name. I just rang up Ben and Chris and we just thought it was really funny, so we used it for the album." The album's cover art is very basic, the background just being plain white, and you just have the green frog with the words Silverchair and Frogstomp. On the inside cover, the theme of white continues with several photos of the band goofing around, playing their instruments and stuff like that. With the added addition of the comment, "No llamas were harmed in the making of this album. Apologies to Toad, the wet sprocket."
What about the frog? Okay, so you got frogs all over the place on here.
Yeah.
But then you make a statement about llamas. There was not one llama killed in order to make this CD. Is that right? And how can you be sure?
Because we didn't kill any.
Why do you love llamas too so much?
Because they're the best animals in the world.
How so? Like,
Why not? Because they just look real dumb. Yeah, they look stupid and they act stupid, so we like them.
The album clocks in at around 45 minutes in length and contains 11 tracks of awesome Australian grunge rock. And with big hits like Israel's Son, Tomorrow, and Pure Massacre, and quieter moments like the song Shade, this album really is an awesome, fun ride from start to end. When the band came out with their album Frogstomp, they were often compared to Seattle grunge bands such as Nirvana and Pearl Jam. Comparisons that the band quickly grew tired of.
At the beginning, I'd say with the Tomorrow EP, I'd say you could see the comparisons there. But now I think we've moved on a bit and gotten a bit heavier and changed a bit. Yeah, I don't think we sound like Pearl Jam or anything like that now.
We don't particularly like the comparisons to Nirvana because we think that the music's nothing like them.
Just a lot of people say, "Oh, you're trying to be Nirvana," because we're a three-piece and I've got blonde hair.
Also, another thing that the band had to fight questions about was their age. With all three band members, Johns, Gillies, and Jonu, being only 15 years old at the time Frogstomp was released, they would always have people focusing more on their age rather than the actual music they released.
Do you ever find that people tend to judge you, make judgment based upon your ages? Like you're 16 now?
Yeah. Yeah, some people are focused on your age more than your music, and that's kind of annoying. But yeah, there's nothing you can do about it, so we just don't worry about it.
Play your music.
On the 27th of March 2015, a remastered edition of Frogstomp was released as a 2-CD DVD set to mark the 20th anniversary of its release. The LP version of the album is sold in a green vinyl with Blind as a bonus track, limited to 3,000 copies worldwide. There is also a limited cassette edition of the album. So, Frogstomp, this is just a totally kick-ass album, nothing but good things to say about this one. 11 tracks, 45 minutes, it's in your face. That opening bass line to Israel's Son, what a way to start off your album. Absolutely epic there. Then going into Tomorrow, the most successful song that the band ever had. An amazing song. The riffage on this album is just totally awesome. When you got the guys jamming out to a song like Madman, they got no lyrics on there. That song actually does contain lyrics on another version, but this particular version, all music, totally cranks. And you have the cool break-off parts in a song like Fault Line, where partway through the song, the tempo just totally changes and the band goes on a massive riffage deal. So some really cool heavy moments on the album there. There are definitely some darker themes on this album if you look into it. I mean, you got Israel's Son, the first track, Pure Massacre, Suicidal Dream, and the song Shade, which talks about abuse. So looking into the themes of some of these tracks, it is a pretty deep album, especially for a bunch of, 15-year-olds. They really do get pretty deep and meaningful on this one. However, this would become something that would not be uncommon for Silverchair. If you look at their albums, Freak Show and Neon Ballroom, for example, touching on darker moments and serious themes was nothing uncommon for the band. It's something that they did. But the album does end on a positive note. You've got the song Find a Way, a real upbeat track to finish the album. And speaking about their age too, I mean, of course you can't look past it. I mean, I think it's amazing You could get a bunch of professional 30 and 40-year-old musicians who couldn't come up with anything even close to this. This is just brilliant. It does show you the genius of those three musicians. Daniel Johns at the forefront, of course, you know, writing all the material and stuff like that. But Ben Gillay's just a phenomenal drummer. And Chris Jonu doing his thing on the bass. Just a totally awesome trio. I just think it's kind of unbelievable, really, and just a testament to how good these three guys are as musicians. To be releasing an album like Frogstomp at 15, just a real compliment to how good these guys are. Makes the music even that much better, in my opinion. So as I release this video, this album's like 25 years old, and it has certainly aged very well. You can put it on today, stream it online, and it'll just blow your socks off. The album has an extremely strong start to it, the first part of the album, and then maybe later on there are just a couple of moments, just a couple, where it kind of drifts off a bit, and there are a couple of songs there that Daniel Johns and the band have said that even just a year after writing them, they weren't so fond of those tracks anymore. But for the whole, on the whole, this thing is just totally amazing. Remembering again, guys, that they were only 15 years old. That's like real young. So I don't think you can be too critical of this album at all. And really, there isn't a whole lot to be critical of. A totally awesome listen. It's Silverchair's debut, Frogstomp.